Another fun and busy week of baseball, and we've got a familiar face finally back on the podcast. All coming up next on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Happy Sunday evening, everybody. Welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. If you could please rate and review the podcast, we would greatly appreciate that. I am Scott Jenstad, joined finally by Jeff Erickson. Jeff, it's really good to have you back. I want to thank everybody who filled in for you, but it's good to see your face. It's good to chat baseball with you.
Yeah, I'm psyched. It's psyched to be talking baseball. Big thanks, though, to Paul, to Ryan, to Vlad. You guys crushed it. I listened from abroad, and it was a way for me to do my best to keep up. I mean, I still probably didn't do great, but at least I had entertainment value. Vlad nails Mickey Moniak going into last week as an example there. Bloomfield nailing the puns. I mean, it was good all around there. The Toro. I mean, come on, that was great.
Yeah, I was hoping you would listen just for that, just for the pun moment. I think I pointed out. I hope you listened. That was good stuff. All three really good guys. I really appreciate them all filling. Obviously, spending their own time and energy to come on the pod for an hour plus on a Sunday evening. Especially, I think Vlad did it on was that Father's Day? Yeah, it was Father's Day. So there's a lot going on for everybody. So I really appreciate everybody. But it's good to have you back. I missed chatting with you.
Yeah. Hey, Sunday nights are one of the things I look forward to most, and it's one of the best parts about my job is I get to talk ball with my friends. I love doing the Sunday night pod. I love doing the Tuesday pod with Fred. Hey, it's great. I really look forward to this every week.
It is very fun. So it's good to have you back. But how's it? Trip was good. First of all,
trip was amazing. We did Madrid, Barcelona, and of course Lisbon. We went on the Lisbon tour that nobody wanted us to see with Chris Liss, and it was awesome. So yeah, it was a great trip. But you know what? Every great trip, it's also great to be back. It doesn't matter how great the trip was. It's always great to be back too. Like, I get to watch DirecTV and baseball all night. This is excellent.
Yeah. Sleep in my own bed, hang out, get some stuff done. It's a good feeling.
Shower in my own shower, all these little things that, you really grow to appreciate.
And you come back. The Reds are over 500. Only 3 back in the wild card. Our Reds are still in the mix here.
Yeah, of course. Our Reds ran into the dreaded Cardinals in Busch Stadium. It's a house of horrors. At least they won today. Andrew Abbott, who knew? Savior again. He was awesome today. There's
some chatter on Twitter going around talking about a little bit about the first round next year. I don't want to get too much into this, but I had a couple questions for you on if you think right now. Obviously, there's a whole half to go. We got a long way to go in this, but the two young guys, James Wood and Pete Crow-Armstrong, having monster years. I saw a list. I forget who it's from. I'm going to attribute it poorly, but they were talking about both Wood and PCA would be in the first round right now. I mean, Wood especially, 21 home runs. I think the concern always on him was like, would the fly balls come and bring the power with him? It was like he's a lot of ground balls. He's hit 278, 57.5% hard hit rate, 19% barrel rate. This dude's 22 and already an absolute just beast.
Yeah, he is. Yes. We're worried. Is he going to have enough pull fly balls? Yeah. I think he does.
Yeah.
I think he does. I didn't do a whole lot right in the Yahoo Friends and Family draft, but I got both those guys.
Nice.
PCA I got in the early second round, and then turned around and got Wood in the third. And that, the thing is, I was optimistic about Wood, but you know what? I didn't have him in a single league going in before that Yahoo Friends and Family draft. It was definitely one of those, FOMO picks that I was just like, okay, I'm going to take him here. Might be a smidge early, but it's definitely time. I'm definitely because 3 people groaned when I took him too. So I knew when that happens, you've hit the right spot.
Yeah. And you look at Wood and everything looks good. I mean, the strikeouts are a little bit too high still at 26.5%, but down 2.5%. So year over year, that's down. The walks are up, hard contacts up, barrel rates up. It's funny you mentioned getting them both. I have both of them in yogurt, and that is working out very nicely.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Your yogurt team significantly better than mine. Are you still winning the whole damn thing?
I'm still winning. I think I'm still first overall, and that's with my SP1 being Garrett Cole.
Oof. I just traded for Cole in a keeper league.
Yeah, that's not going to help me in this league, Jeff.
No, I know it's not, but just
nothing like dropping your first pitcher before the season starts.
Yeah. It really does stink. That's just shows how early we draft too.
It also shows how great fantasy baseball is because you can have that happen and still actually compete, which is fantastic. In some sports, you lose your first wide receiver, running back. It's really tough to win a league or to compete overall, especially. But you can do it in baseball. It's a little Spencer Schwellenbach, a little Hunter Brown, a little Spencer Strider coming back to form now is kind of making up for Cole for sure.
You play fantasy hoops and fantasy football as well.
I do.
Format is it most devastating to lose your first round pick? Which sport?
It's a really good question. I still think football, just because it's so hard to get a replacement in there. I think basketball is really hard too. I think baseball is definitely third, but I'd go football, basketball, baseball if I had to rank them. But basketball and football are really close. There's a big gap to baseball where you can really compete. But I think I had a year in the NFFC primetime where the year that Peterson got suspended for the whole year, I lost him. It was just the team's just dead. The problem in football is you have to find an 8th or 9th round gem, and that has to go with your first round pick. You can't replace it there. You have to have both to do really well, and it's so hard to lose. And those top guys they're such difference makers.
Well, and the thing is, you and I both play in what our friend Jim Coventry likes to call jackpot contests. We play an overall contest. If you're playing most people play just in their league, but if you're playing in an overall contest, yes, you gotta nail the first couple of picks and find the late rounders. Because
it's a good point. You could probably compete in your league, but to win an overall, you can't lose that first round pick for the year.
Yeah.
That's a good point there. Yeah, in a home league or a local league, you probably get back with the waiver wires a little better. But some in FFC, their waiver wires, their benches are so big. It's a 10-man bench. It's really hard to get.
Yeah, I think we need to remember that as much as we love those formats, it's not how most people play, especially in football. Yeah, football. I mean, the waiver wire in the NFFC is ridiculous. And if you find that one Peyton Hillis, you spend big.
I do still think, even in a 12-team home league across the sports, I still think baseball is easily the one you can.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think it's a big difference. But what about PCA though? We talked about how good Wood is. PCA is 21-23 right now, which is crazy. He's hit 270. Hard contacts 43%, nothing near Wood, but the barrel rate's 14.5%. So really barreling up balls. K rate's about 24%. Does not walk at all. 4.4%. So if you're going to pick some nits on PCA, it's probably a little bit of patience and swinging outside the zone a little bit too much. But 21-23, he had 27 stolen bases last year, so speed's obviously real. The power is coming on now. I mean, I think there's a point someone on Twitter made was that even if he kind of slows down, he probably goes 30-35, and that's be hard to keep him out of the first round. Maybe that's the zone stuff will get him, but I still think he's an end of the first round guy.
PCA or as Paul asked, Cal Raleigh, who are you going with?
Man, it's crazy because the crazy thing is, and Paul mentioned it, Raleigh's got 8 stolen bases too. Yep. We're at June 22nd. If he steals 15 bases, what a freaking edge right there. I'd still probably go PCA just because I don't know how real the steals are with Raleigh, and he's still a catcher, but man, he's having an unbelievable season right
now. I think the likelihood of injury, while catching is the thing. And we just saw Adley Rutschman go on the IL, right, with the oblique injury. We saw him get hurt last year with the foul tip off of his hand. And we want to attribute his struggles to that. We don't know for sure if it's all attributable to that. But I mean, I think the likelihood of a catcher getting hurt versus other positions is probably higher. But man, when Raleigh hits 272, that's like another player hitting 300. It's because about the downside. I mean, I think I diversified away from him. I got him in labor, and then I kind of stayed away in other leagues. And I'm like, what do I do here? I mean, and the funny thing is, on my projections, he would show up high, and then I better ratchet that down because the batting average floor.
Yep.
Oh, I'm so dumb sometimes, Scott.
I mean, he hit 220, he hit 211, 232, 223 years in a row. I mean, I don't know how dumb you are. I don't think we can see the 650 slugging percentage is pretty much carrying the batting average up. It's not like his BABIP's not very good. I mean, it's 273. It's not like he's having a 350 BABIP season to make the batting average go up. It's just that he hits everything over the fence. It's crazy.
Yeah. The 9 bags, though. I mean, he had 7 career bags going into the season. So
yeah.
And that's you're thinking, oh yeah, he could run. He might get 5. Probably won't get 6 again. Hey, he didn't. He got 9 so far, and he's probably going to get more. But Look at us.
20th percentile sprint speed, Jeff. I guess he's a catcher. He probably knows exactly the right spots to pick. And, there's a lot of people that say major leaguers can kind of get a steal here and there whenever they want. And, if you pick the right spots, you could probably steal 12 to 15 if you really want to do it. And it seems like Raleigh's jumping on that right now.
You see certain players every year that do that. They kind of defy that. And it's kind of fun.
It is kind of fun. He's having an unbelievable season. Obviously, him and Crow-Armstrong especially, two guys like kind of in that. He moved around a little bit, but they were kind of both. Raleigh's probably a 6th, 7th rounder, and PCA was kind of 8th, 9th round by the end. Man, you get those guys. It's just a massive, massive win.
Yeah, and by the way, we're talking in a 2-catcher format here. In a 1-catcher format, Raleigh's going to go at least another round or 2 lower
for sure.
But yeah.
So someone that you and I we talked about PCA a bunch in the offseason as well, but a guy that we've talked about over the last couple of years is Jo Adell. He started off slow. We're at the point where maybe we're getting the same Jo Adell. You and I talked about him before you were out of town. It was like, we're looking at the BABIP. It was really low, but you saw some other stuff that was good. The strikeout rate was down. The hard contact was up. It's come around a little bit now. He's got 16 home runs. I know he's not running. That's the one thing. He only has 3 stolen bases. I wish he would start to run a little more. He had 15 last year, but he's hitting 223, which is the problem, but still with a 229 BABIP. If that just kind of normalizes a little bit and he can hit 245, this is an interesting player. 16 home runs in 69 games. He's on pace for a 30-plus home run year. Has Jo Adell finally arrived, Jeff?
You've been trying to manifest this since start of draft season, so
or since 2021 or something.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And the thing is, if he starts getting a little bit more BABIP luck, then those stolen bases will trick up because he's on base a little bit more.
Yeah.
Looking at a couple of things though. You look at it with him. The walk rate has actually gone down. It was 7.8 last year. It's 6.3 this year. K rate's also gone down along with that there. So if that's the trade-off, well, so be it. But that also leads to fewer stolen base opportunities there a little bit too. This is a team.
I'm still taking that trade-off for sure. If we can get the strikeout rate under 25%, I think he becomes a really, really good player.
Yeah, I mean, he should be rostered in even 12s, I think, all over the place. He wasn't going into this weekend. There are still a lot of places where he's still available. 15s, he obviously was gobbled up, but
he was dropped in my main event 3-4 weeks ago, and so I grabbed him, but then it's timed out very nicely because he's pretty much been hot since I picked him up, and that's
fun. The Angels are the collective team approach of the Angels is, other than Shanwell and maybe Trout, is to not take but try to rake. They're not a walking team. They are a K-ing team. They haven't run much this year as a whole. I mean, that was something that we were pointing out earlier. Now, and I hope Ron Washington's doing better, by the way. I just see he's got to leave. But the thing is, I'm old enough to remember when Ron Washington was going to be the key to the Angels stealing a bazillion bases, because he was like the stolen base guru, the stolen base whisperer at one point. I guess when you have I guess personnel matters, I think, is the real takeaway here.
Yeah. The crazy stat is that the Angels are 21st in runs scored in the majors, 22nd runs scored in the majors. They are tied for 3rd in home runs.
Yeah, it's because they don't get on base.
Yeah,
they strike out a ton and they don't get on base. Early in the season, they're better now than they were early in the season. Man, they were just like DFS gold to stream against there. Like Andrew Heaney had just a dominant gem against them in Anaheim. That is cooler out at night, so that might have something to do with it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Them and the Cubs have the same number of home runs. The Cubs have 96 more runs scored.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
Jeff, what are you doing with? We're talking power. We're going to talk a little speed. What are you doing with Victor Scott? This is someone that we were excited about. A lot of stolen bases. He won the job out of camp. He started moving up in drafts. It's been rough lately. I know the stolen bases are still there. He's got 21 stolen bases, but last month 173. He had the 1 home run. I think it was this week. 9 runs and 6 RBI. So that's like 4 categories now he's hurting you. If he's not scoring runs, it makes it really tough. He's now at 241 for the year. He doesn't have 21 steals, but 24 RBIs, 3 home runs. If that batting average falls anymore, he becomes really tough to roster, because you get the stolen base, you need at least to come with at least an average batting average.
Yeah, so say the last 3 weeks, 5 stolen bases. How much are 5 stolen bases worth?
Yeah,
because that's basically what you're getting. Getting nothing else. You got 1 homer. Okay, great. You really have to be a specialist. I think he's Fortunately, it's not someone that's somebody else's problem. I have plenty of other problems on my rosters. Trust me. Take a look at my main event and think, no, don't look at it, please.
I can't. You went from too many catchers to 0. It's crazy. You had 3 like actual really good catchers, and they went to 0.
I thought I constructed a pretty decent hitting roster after having a bad hitting season last year, and it's somehow worse. But it's just a whole. I'm waiting for Yordan Alvarez to actually swing a bat again. That would be nice.
Boy, every news report is no better than the last one. It's
the Astros 2 years in a row. Key player gets hurt, and
Al Tucker all over again.
Infinitely worse than initially reported. Way worse. And you can't cut Yordan Alvarez. That's the other thing. You're just stuck and just waiting and waiting.
And just missing all the stats. I mean, it's just brutal.
It's terrible. And then Alvarez getting sent down. I know we'll talk about that in a sec, but Vientos being hurt. Now, when he comes back, what sort of job is he walking into, if any? It's just, he could get sent down too. Would not be surprised if that happened.
Yeah, I think they'll give him a little bit of run here, but I don't think that's out of the. I think
Beatty getting banged up might give him a chance to there, but Beatty's healthy now. I don't know, dude. I mean, it's ugly.
So in a 12-teamer, are you playing Victor Scott, dropping Victor Scott, benching Victor Scott? What do you do with somebody? It's such a hard call because the stolen base are going to be there if he gets on base. It's just hard to give that away, but man, he's doing nothing else.
Yeah, I hate speed only guys. I really do with a passion. I think it really comes down to how badly do I need those stolen bases? How many, because any random jabroni that I pick up will probably get 1 or 2 in that same span, right? If I'm picking up another outfielder. So
a guy with some
stolen
speed,
bases, I'm losing 3, 4 if I bench him, cut him. I'm probably parting ways. I'm at least benching, if not cutting.
Yeah, I have him in a 15-teamer, and I think I'm just I'm gonna bench now and see where it goes. I think I'll have to. You're right. I have to figure out if you have a ton of stolen bases, you don't need him. I think it's an easy cut. If you are kind of in that middle where you can gain or lose a lot, I think you kind of have to hold him or at least play him a little bit. But it's tough. I mean, it's he hit $179 last year. I know he was in limited time, but he's not shown he can hit until that 27% strikeout rate. Just too many strikeouts for a guy who has no power.
Yeah. By the way, Billy Hayes just posted something, and I wanted to talk about him. I know it's not on the outline, but Anthony Santander, he's been out for a while, dude. He's not even swinging yet.
Yeah, I saw earlier today not swinging a bat, and I didn't even put him on the list because I didn't know whether there was an update. But not only not swinging a bat, but he's been really bad when he has swung a bat. Maybe he was just hurt to begin with, but it's we're talking 200 plate appearances of $179. That really kills you. And he's got under 20 runs and RBI. Strikeout rate's way up. I think we may just find out that he was never healthy this year.
Yeah, clearly, because we have a track record with him in his career. He's not like he's forgotten how. It's not like he's forgotten how to swing a bat at all. I mean,
it's 44 home runs last year.
Yeah, the Jays finally found someone to take their money, and turns out it's counterfeit. Because he's definitely he is the ultimate example of don't get a player off of a career or new contract guy. The whole Glenn and Rick thing there. Droopy says I'll give up Evaldi for Yordan. I have both on my main event team. Thanks.
Evaldi's back this week, right?
Yes, he is.
That's huge.
There is much rejoicing. Yay. But
we talked about Santander's lack of power. Jeff, what's happened to Julio Rodriguez's power? It was 32-37 in 2023, 20 home runs last year. I think I kind of blindly went with he's such a stud. I think it's just going to bounce back. He only has 10 home runs right now, 12 stolen bases. You look at a 10 and 12 guy and where he was drafted, you could find a lot of those guys who are doing the same thing. I don't know what to do or think here. I mean, you're just gonna play him. You're not going to do anything with him. But if you're in a trade league, are you going to try and trade for him? You're going to try and buy a little bit low. It's probably hard to do that with Julio. But man, he's 253, 10 home runs, 12 stolen bases. Just the kind of the definition of middling.
Who's selling him low is the problem.
That's the thing.
I think whoever grabbed Julio probably spent a first-round pick. There were some early drafts where he's going early second round.
But either way, a top 20 pick.
In many cases, the person that drafted Julio is a true believer. True believers aren't going to give up. They're going to see he scored 45 runs, by the way, too.
I wouldn't give up either. I have him, and I wouldn't give up. I mean, hard hit rate's down, which is worrying, but strikeout rate's down 5% too. The lack of power is weird. It's concerning. I mean, he's on pace for another 20 home run season, which just doesn't get it done.
Yeah, we have a history of better second halves with Julio, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's 24. It's not like he's like past prime or anything like that.
And I'm not selling for the future, but in 2025, I'll admit that I'm a bit worried about the production at the moment.
I am too, but I just, unfortunately, I don't think it's actionable.
No, it's probably not. And if I have him, I'm probably not selling. I know everybody's in the chat saying he's done this before, but man, it's hard because you gotta be so good in the second half, and this first half still counts. I mean, it's 74 games. Like it's a big chunk of games. If you're taking Julio, you need him to have both halves like that.
And it's still a tough place to hit.
Yep. So you're kind of hoping he gets a 25-25, and is what the hope is. I guess he hits 270, which means he hits maybe 290 the rest of the way is what you're hoping. But it's
but when you see Raleigh doing what he's doing, it's like,
I know, right? Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Jeff, last thing on Real Baseball before we jump into a bunch of fantasy talk. The Tigers have a 9-game lead in the Central.
I saw that on the outline, and the thing is, the vibes on the Tigers aren't super great right now. Their pitching is really kind of immolated lately. I don't know if how close you've been watching the pitching. Casey Mize today left with leg cramps, so he should be okay. But their rotation is, and Jack Flaherty's been torched the last couple times out. They're going with yesterday they went with an opener in front of Sawyer Gipson-Long, who I kind of like. I have in a couple of places, and they actually did okay, but still gave up a couple homers. They're kind of taking on water lately with their pitching. I have some concern about the Tigers, but the rest of the division has fallen off though too. I mean, the Guardians got over 500 this weekend, so they might be viable. But the Twins, that's
the streakiest group. It's crazy. They won a bunch in a row, and they've won one of their last 10. It's insane the runs they have, both good and bad.
Yeah, the Twins are just annoying. I've invested too much in their pitchers. Never again. I mean,
it's been so bad. I mean, aside from Joe Ryan, it's been rough. I mean, Simeon Richardson, and then Festa got smoked. Either that was today or yesterday, and Zebby got hurt. And
Festa was today. I know that. Yeah, and Zebby
hurt.
4
inning stints are just frustrating. You're right. They're just
hurt. Ober's frustrating.
Yep.
Yeah, over and over and over again. 4 2/3, 4 1/3, 4 2/3. Oh wait, we'll go 6, but we're going to give up 6 runs.
It's a good question. Paul Sport asked the chat, Bailey Orr, was he an auto start anymore? I sat him this week at Cincinnati, so my answer is no, and that was in a 15-teamer too.
I heard your discussion with Vlad on him last week. That was a good discussion.
I am starting him this week for the 2 starts. He's home Seattle at Detroit, so I'm starting him this week. But yeah, I don't consider him an auto start, which is really hard to do when he's the second starter you're taking. But that doesn't matter anymore. You got to throw whoever's the best choice there.
Yeah, exactly. He's your second starter in a mix. Like he could be your ace in an AL only. But just think about that.
Have you looked at the Reds schedule the next 2 weeks? New York, San Diego, at Boston, at Philly.
It seems suboptimal, especially when we're going to be paying attention to a certain young pitcher who's making his debut this week.
I was going to say, we were going to talk about Chase Burns at some point. I flipped through that and I'm like, oh, he's going to have a 2-step next week. I'm like, at Boston, at Philly. I was like, holy crap. Welcome to the bigs, kid.
Yeah. San Diego, by the way, that's a good start.
It is right now. Yeah.
Cause that's one of the great things about doing the VSiN show is I'm looking at spots every single day and I'm trying to do some rolling average stuff. And they had it was for Thursday's show. I think it was San Diego had the lowest WRC plus and the lowest WOBA over the last 30 days in baseball.
Wow.
All of baseball.
That's a great note right there. I mean, Tatis has been really quiet. I know he had a 3-run homer yesterday, but been really quiet.
Yeah.
And the rest of that lineup, you look at it, you're like, I'm not all that worried about, Tyler Wade and Martin Maldonado were really bad, and they've had some injuries. But you're right. It's just Merrill's been out for a week, so that hurt the cause too. But you're right. There's the back half of that lineup doesn't scare you, especially when Xander's, just kind of not the same guy right now.
Yeah, and Xander actually had a couple of big hits against the Dodgers. They did win today.
He had that 4-hit game. I mean, 4 homers and he's slugging 348 right now.
Yeah.
So let's look ahead at next week. I think it's week 14 in baseball. It's only a small amount of teams with 7 games. The Mariners, Twins in the AL, Mets, Braves, Cardinals, and Cubs in the NL. So not a ton of games that everybody's almost got one off day. But there are some teams with really good schedules. If you can kind of find a way to stream some games. Also, there's no day games tomorrow, Jeff. Always good on the West Coast. I have no Monday day games. I like that.
Yeah.
But some teams have really good games. The Yankees and Dodgers, 2 really good teams. Probably hard to find guys on the team, but Yankees have 3 at our Reds and then 3 against our formerly A's in Yankee Stadium. Really good setup there. A's pitching is horrendous. Obviously, at Cincy, great place to hit. And the Dodgers are 3 at Colorado, 3 at KC. Should be a lot of runs for both New York and Los Angeles this week. Although
you never know with the Yankees the way they're hitting right now. They finally broke out of it a little bit against the Orioles this weekend, but I mean they had to rally today. They lost on Friday. They're still not completely out of the woods. Just like they've got like the remains of Zach Eflin that they were able to knock around on Saturday, but I don't really think they're completely out of the woods.
And boy are the Rays coming too.
Yeah, they are. Although the Rays, they're going to have roughly 1 billion road games in the second half of the season.
Yeah,
I might be exaggerating by a little bit.
No, you're actually not. It's a crazy schedule. They played 50 home games.
Yeah, they
50.
have.
They played 28 road games. I know
and
they're
that's
doing
purposeful.
The rainouts in the summer. Yeah.
Yep.
But 50 home games already is a wild number. It's going to be really interesting to see how they play. They're 27 and 23 at home, 16 and 12 on the road, so not much of a difference. But the travel is going to be really tough on them in the second half.
Yeah, I think so too. Park effect wise, it's going to benefit their pitchers. I mean, I think although God knows what's happened to Taj Bradley, I don't know if he's fixable at this point in time. But
I almost put him in the outline as someone like, what are you doing with this guy? But I don't even know. It's just so bad. You got to think Joe Boyle's coming up at some point, right?
Yeah, and I always thought it was going to be like Boz was at risk for a while, but it's definitely Bradley at this point.
And the Rays Park is kind of average for offense overall, so it hasn't been this huge boon like Sutter Health Park Field, whatever it's called, has been. Their park factor is a 101 right now. It's 11th in baseball. It's really good for home runs, though. It's 117 for home runs.
And Bradley, that's the thing. Bradley does give up the fly ball a little too much. The gopher ball is a little bit too much. So that maybe is why he's hurting more. But it's weird. They have a staff full of guys like that. I mean, Pepio gives up his share of long balls. That's bankable a little bit too.
Yeah, Joe Boyle in the minors, though. I mean, it's only a matter of time, right? 1.83 ERA, 0.95 WHIP in 64 innings, 32.3% strikeout rate. Too many walks, but he's a 19% swing strike rate in the minors right now. Like at some point, they're going to have to give him a shot. Yeah, and he had that one great outing. And then he sent him back down. I know a lot of people, like in NFBC formats, have been stashing him for a long time, and good on you if that comes through. But I mean, it's got it tough to hold that spot as someone that's had 3 catchers all along. And I know about burning spots. So trust me, it's tough. I know. Yeah. Last I looked, he was like over 90% rostered in the main event. So, I mean, people are really waiting for him. So it'll be interesting. A couple other good schedules this week. The Giants and Diamondbacks, they both get to play the Marlins and the White Sox. They just kind of flip spots. I think the Giants are 3 Miami, 3 at Chicago. Diamondbacks 3 at Chicago, the 3 home against Miami. Brewers a sneaky, really good schedule too. They get the Pirates for 3. I know they do face Skeens in there, but then they get 3 against Colorado also. And Wednesday, Jeff, we get Skeens and Mizkowski, which should be a lot of fun. It's going to be amazing. I'm hoping that Burns is at least half as impactful as Mizoraki has been, because he's been. I mean, I think did he go back for like his first 2 starts until the last inning? I mean, it's wild. He went 11 innings without giving up a hit. Yeah, the GIF going around about who was it that he got screwed into the ground there? Willie Castro. Oh yeah. God, yeah, pump that into my veins. That was fun. That was a lot of fun to see. I'm surprised they haven't sent him down to make room for Dallas Keuchel or something, because that's what they do. But Logan Henderson, meanwhile, is just like, hey, guys, remember me from you may remember me from Hitch TV shows as really good outings the first 3 times up. But I'm a little salty about that, because I got Henderson. I'm holding on to Henderson in one of my NFBC leagues, and I'm holding on to him in my NO-only league, which only has 3 bench spots, because I just can't give up that $1 Logan Henderson that I picked up and it's a keeper league. So I'm just like going to ride it out. But, man, I think you need that spot. Yeah. So we got some news and notes. It was not a good injury weekend, Jeff. This is a tough one. Biggest one was Chris Sale, 15-day out with a fractured left rib cage. You can see in the 9th inning of that game, he dove for a ball, got the out. It was a pretty nice play. Then it came out the next day, he has a fractured left rib. They've not given a full timetable on this. It's just everything I've seen. I think I read the article from, is it David O'Brien? That's the Braves beat writer on Twitter. I think I read it.
Yeah,
his article.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, he was really good. I think I read the article was like, just expected to be out a significant amount of time, which is the only thing they're using. His age, how he pitches, all that kind of stuff. I think you have to hold for now and see what kind of timetable we get. But this is brutal, because Sale was probably behind Skubal and Skeens, the 3rd best pitcher over like the last 6-7 weeks of the season.
Yeah, he's been excellent. They finally got they finally got a couple of good Strider outings. So you're thinking, okay, here we go.
Yep.
The Braves can't get out of their own way. Todd Zola and I were doing the Sirius XM show this morning talking about the Braves, and it's stunning how little power they're getting from this lineup. Ozzie Albies has like a 610 OPS. Michael Harris is somehow worse than that. Alex Verdugo, you know how many home runs Alex Verdugo has?
1.
0.
Damn it.
0. You tried to underguess it and you couldn't. It was not possible.
I tried. I was weird looking at like stats in the last month just because I was looking at some stuff. Michael Harris has the least amount of runs scored in baseball for all qualified hitters in the last month. Like that seems impossible.
Inconceivable.
Yeah.
Inconceivable. I don't understand. I mean, they play in a launching pad. I mean, it's not okay. Maybe I'm overstating the case with launching pad, but it's a very homer friendly ballpark, 3rd or 4th highest elevation in baseball. It's supposed to be a place where you can crank. Even Austin Riley's he's very mid, and he's getting paid to be someone that's an elite player. He is not that right now. Acuna is doing Acuna things. He's incredible. Yeah. I'm happy to see he's cranking. He even got a stolen base the other day. He's up to 2 now. He's not going to get you a ton. But
I wonder what's up there, because you're right. It's been above average for home runs the last couple of years, but this year's been really bad for home runs in Atlanta with a park factor of 90. It's I don't know what's going on there.
I mean, they had some rain early in the year, but come on, this isn't like this. It's not like beholden to wind patterns like Wrigley Field. By the way, that was nice blowing out with hot weather this weekend there, but something they didn't get a whole lot of last season. But they're collectively slumping, and as Kelly points out in the chat, a lot of these guys are signed long term. Albies, Riley, Olsen has been okay actually, and he's had a nice little on base streak. He's been. I'm not going to blame him for this mess, but Harris is signed long term too. I mean, that's the thing. What do you do if you're the Braves? How do you get these guys going?
Albies has a 293 OBP after a 303 OBP last year. You're right. He's slugging 324. That's really bad.
And take a look at Michael Harris's OBP while you're at it.
Oh, I've seen it. We talked about him a couple weeks ago. It's ugly how bad he's been.
Yeah.
Really. Another guy where everybody chimed in like, oh, he's really good in the second half. But man, 252 OBP in a half a season with 17 runs scored. He has 17 runs. It's crazy. It's been so
in
bad.
75 games, 305 plate appearances. It's not like he's been hurt.
Yeah, 17 runs is impossible.
So, asking all this, are you on Erickson Profar when he comes back?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they need him. The fact that they need runs, he's gonna play every day, slide in the top half of that lineup, I think, pretty quickly. Yeah, I think I'm on. He hasn't done much in the minors. I think he did well as like that first game, right? I think he did something the first game because he's playing already. But I guess he's actually doing pretty well. He's hitting 429 in the minors with 2 bombs. So he's only played 5 games. But yeah, I mean, I'm in. I mean, I don't know if you're getting 24-10 like last year, or you take that over a half season, but yeah, I think that especially in a 15-teamer, I'd love to have it.
Yeah. By the way, just to let you know how my main event season is going, we drafted Erickson Profar, then got outbid for him this week when trying to pick him back up. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, love that. That's always a good time.
Yeah.
A couple of catchers who got injured this week, tough ones. Adley Rutschman, oblique strain, 10-day IL. Out through the All-Star break is what they said. They said it's minor, but it seems like they're going to give some precaution to it. Obviously, they're kind of getting buried in the division anyway. And Ivan Herrera, was really good, then got hurt, then really good again. He had 4 RBI in a game earlier this week. Grade 2 hamstring strain. He's out 2 to 6 weeks. That's a crazy wide stretch there, but you got to figure he's probably the same time frame, probably All-Star break. Really brutal because you got to add a third catcher when these guys get hurt. But are you holding or dropping Rutschman and Herrera?
Well, I've got Herrera as part of my triumvirate of catchers. It's down to 0, basically.
As do I, yes.
I sent a text to Tim on either Thursday night or Friday morning. Hey, we can probably cut Carson Kelly this week because he's been so bad and is losing a lot of playing time lately.
Yeah, you've got Herrera and Alvarez. Like, you're fine.
Herrera goes on the IL like right after the Cubs game started and Kelly was on our bench. Alvarez homers yesterday and gets sent down this morning. I'm like, really? Okay. So we went from 3 to 0 basically. So yeah, fun times. I'm holding on to Herrera for another week or 2. Okay. We'll see. We're cutting Alvarez. We cut Alvarez first.
I think Alvarez is a pretty easy cut. I mean, they did an interview during the ESPN game night. They're pretty much like, well, Luis Torrens needs to play. He's earning his playing time. And I know Luis Torrens has a high barrel rate. I know all that stuff. But if you're losing your time, your spot to Luis Torrens, like you're probably your leash is down to 0. And I think I'd cut him too. What about Rutschman? 8 homers, hitting 227 with a hard hit rate under 40%. Strikeout rate's always low with him. It's really good. What are we getting here fantasy wise? Because for the last since he got hurt last year, so take a full year, it's been very, very average at best.
It has. What do you do with the scurvy pirate? You make him walk the plank. No, sorry, Backyardigans references for the win. I will hold Adley probably, but then again, I don't have him again, so I have plenty of other problems. I don't need to solve yours. But I was hold Herrera and actually drop Rutschman. Okay. I'm probably holding both, but yeah, I get it. I believe in the overall talent of Rutschman still. And I know it's been a year and a half since we've really truly seen it. I'm stubborn. So I'm probably holding on to him.
I just think you're getting maybe late July.
And I'm talking 2 catcher leagues, by the way.
Yeah, 2 catcher, 1 catcher league, I think is the easiest. I think both of them are cut, actually. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I really like Herrera, but I think Herrera's really, really good. But I'd probably cut them both in a 1 catcher league. But 2 catcher league, I'm definitely holding Herrera.
I know you guys spent some time talking A's catchers last week. I know that was probably your favorite niche of all time. But
Austin wins. Still hitting the ball hard. I actually picked him up in a main event league this week. The one I have Herrera. I picked up Austin Wins, who's the highest WRP2 plus in Cincinnati Reds history forever. Yeah,
that was funny. He had that 1 week. He had that 1 game in Baltimore this year. We picked up Joey Bart and dropped Alvarez. So Bart happened to be available, and then who else?
It was weirdly a week where you could pick up catchers. You could pick up Pedro Pajes for Herrera. You could pick up Luis Torrens for the Mets. Yep. Bart, you mentioned Austin Wins. There was someone else.
Gary Sanchez, you could pick up.
Gary Sanchez. He got picked up in 53 main event leagues. He was actually the most common pickup in the main event was Gary Sanchez.
It's a 1-to-1 comparison.
Yeah.
I would like to see if Rutschman was dropped and probably try to make a bid on him in 2 weeks, but that's just me. Patrick Bailey was available in my league.
He's terrible.
He is terrible. I know.
Rutschman was dropped in 3 main events.
Okay, there you go.
So not very many, but there was a few. Herrera was dropped in 3 main events as well.
Yeah.
It's hard to hold 3 catchers. If you have other injuries, it's hard to do it. But I do want to get into FAAB here. So just a couple other injury notes. Corbin Carroll is a little concerning here. He's missed like 4 games in a row, and they're like, it's fine. Saturday was like, oh, he can pinch hit. He's fine. Now he's in an MRI tomorrow on his left hand, Jeff. That is an odd progression of events and not a good one either.
And you kept him active this weekend, just in the hope that he gets at least 1 Coors Field game. That
it's Corbin Carroll. Like, you miss a Coors week, it's brutal.
Yeah, really brutal.
But that's concerning. Like, and the thing was like, oh, it's precaution. Like, you don't get an MRI unless you maybe are a little bit worried. You're not spending the time, energy, money to go do that unless you're like a teensy bit worried, right?
Yeah, I think the Diamondbacks are sneaking into our team's lie list here. They're not quite Astros bad, but they're kind of sneaky with this. I mean, look how they jerked their chain with Justin Martinez. Look how with Corbin Burns, they kind of did that a little bit too, where they were trying to hide how bad it was. We all knew, but they're like, well, maybe it's not that bad. Yeah, Tommy John. All right.
Yeah, you're right. It's not getting great. They're never going to be the Astros, but maybe they might be right up there. Jake Berger, another one with a strained oblique. That was clearly the injury of the weekend with strained obliques. He's on the 10-day IL. Ryan Yarbrough, who's been really good for the Yankees, 15-day IL also. But some good news. Shota Imanaga is going to return this week for the Cubs. You mentioned Nathan Eovaldi should return this week. He's not going to have any rehab outings. He's going to go straight to the majors. Jordan Westburg got some good news too. It sounds like the sprained finger is going to be okay. Should be ready early in the week. You mentioned Casey Mize with the leg cramping. So there was a little bit of good news. Hunter Dobbins, also bad news there, went the 15-day IL with a right elbow strain. Tyler McGill went in the IL too. I dropped him. They said at least a month, and you pitch at an elbow at least a month unless it's an absolute stud. I think you got to cut bait.
Yep.
So let's talk about some FAAB this week. It was not quite the FAAB frenzy there was the last couple of weeks. But first, a quick note from the NFFC. The NFFC RotoWire Fantasy Football Online Championship is now live. I've seen some draft boards come across my text messaging. People are drafting football, Jeff. It's kind of crazy to me, but I know people love drafting football. And I love that they have this outlet to do so. You can play fantasy football against your favorite RotoWire experts on NFFC this baseball season. Jeff Erickson, Nick Whalen, and more. Once again, my name was not put in the promo. So
I thought, isn't that your middle name is and more?
And more, it should be. We'll compete in the RotoWire NFFC Online Championship for a shot at $250,000. With how bad I am at football, I would not put my name in the promo read either because it's not appealing for it. Although it should be appealing to play against me, so it's a good thing. Sign up for a draft today. It's a great format, great setup, really fun. RotoWire.com/high stakes. That's RotoWire.com/high stakes.
This is there's like an Arrested Development joke in there about and more. It's like that.
Her
and more.
So hitter fab first. It was not, like I said, it was not quite the fab friends that we had the last couple weeks. We had a lot of high bids over this last couple of weeks, but Brady House was called up, playing third base, playing every day. What'd you do with this one? He was added in 46 leagues. Not a lot of money spent. It was a max of 49. There was some bids down to about $1. I got him in a league. I think I'm in one league for pretty cheap, but the power looks real, but so is the swing and miss. And as we see with rookies that get called up, that swing and miss really becomes a problem at the major league level.
Yeah, I mean, we had bids on him. We actually got him in our main. We got him for 14.
Oh yeah, I mean that's it. I mean he has pop. He's got 13 home runs on this year. I think that price, like, it's worth a shot.
It's kind of cute though. We dropped Robert Hassel III for him, so one failed Nats prospect for another future failed Nats prospect. That's perfect.
That's a good synergy right there. But I think it's one of those plays like you hope you run into a hot power 3 or 4 weeks, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the playing time looks pretty good. Like the path is pretty clear. I think they called him up to play, which is a really important. You want guys that have some sort of leash. He's hitting fifth some nights, sixth some other nights, but there's really no blocking his playing time at the moment in Washington.
Yeah. There's some upside potential there. I mean, that ballpark, it can fly in the heat of the summer. So we can see it there. I in one league he went for 76 and scarf, and then the next player down, we'll talk about him, but I want him 37-1. That's just gross.
Is that the lovely Giancarlo Stanton?
No.
Oh.
It's about Schmidt.
Okay, Schmidt coming down. Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to me real quick about Stanton. Stanton it was a tough one. He's UT only, so if you have you have Schwarber, you have Ohtani, you got although Brent Rooker now is an outfielder. I'm sure you're happy about that. He's out of the utility spot. My concern with Stanton, I think that we know about the health issue, but whatever. You pick him up, he gets hurt, you can drop him. The power's always real. I'm worried about playing time here. They're talking about Goldschmidt taking ground balls at second. They got to get Ben Rice in the lineup. It's kind of gross, but I just don't know how much they're going to push him. And if he's not playing every day, where you're gonna fall into those home runs, I don't know how well Stanton works at UT right now.
So I did celebrate Brent Rooker outfielder day in a few leagues, and we put Stanton like 4th or 5th on our waterfall, in part because I don't want to deal with the UT only problem again.
You didn't celebrate by just adding another UT right on top of him?
Yeah, exactly. And what's the payoff? There, as Todd was saying on the Sirius XM show this morning, Stan could play himself down into the wrong side of a platoon. It's just like, he's Stanton and he could be awesome. He has stretches where he's awesome. He also has stretches where he's really legitimately terrible too. And
we're talking about guys probably hitting about I'm doing the math, 210 over the last 3 years total.
And the health was so doom and gloom this spring too. That's another reason why I was kind of very cautious. So we kind of ratcheted our bid down, didn't get him.
But then again, he hit 27 home runs in 114 games last year. So if you need power, it's not easy to find power guys, and he's someone that could fall into a good home run. So he was drafted in 45 main event leagues, a high of 82, all the way down to someone did get him for $1. So the bids were kind of all over the place. There's a lot of runner-up bids in the kind of the 20s and 30s. It seemed like the bid on Stanton was kind of the 30 to 40 range.
Yeah, I think that's a fair risk at that point in time.
Yeah.
Joe McHugh got him in my main event league. He's a better fantasy ball player than me this year, and maybe always. But he got him for 22 with the runner-up bid was 18. So that's a pretty fair, I think, estimation of his value. And if it doesn't work out, okay, it was $22. And it cost him Jordan Walker, which I probably was a kind of a healing sort of cut I probably felt good to cut him too.
Yeah, man, talk about a guy who just has not happened. I was kind of in on that earlier in the year, and I don't even look at him in FAAB anymore. I just see Jordan Walker. I just kind of scroll by the next guy.
Yep. Just keep scrolling. Yep.
So Vlad and I last week talked about a couple of Rocky guys, both Michael Toglia, who is not called up yet, and then got called up like in a few hours after the podcast, or the next day, whatever it was. He called up, had a really good series this week. Mickey Moniak had a really good week too. I think he homered again today. They were 26% rostered in the main event and 19% rostered, Toglia and Moniak. Rocky's schedule gets really good here. I know they face the Dodgers this week, but they're in Coors and they're at Milwaukee, but then they're home for 6 the next week. I think they play at Cincy the week after that. So their schedule really heats up. They're weirdly starting to hit a little bit as an offense. They're still losing a lot of games, but like Goodman's really hitting well. Moniak, Toglia. What did you do with these two guys? It's so hard to get involved with the Rockies, but it's still Coors Field, and both these guys seem like they're going to play a bunch now.
Yeah, they have 3 of their next 4 series are in Coors Field. The one road series is against Milwaukee, and it's scheduled to be Quintana, Priester, and Patrick.
Oh,
so it's
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not that bad. And then home against Houston, home against the White Sox. You look at the Dodgers they're facing. They are facing Yamamoto. But they're facing Robleski too. And they're facing Kershaw. Who knows what you're going to get out of Kershaw?
Yeah.
Point is, it's not like this is start of the season Dodgers rotation. It still could be good, but even Yamamoto isn't as good as he was at the start of the year either, for that matter. Yeah, I think it's worth the extra unit to bid on both of those hitters. Like I said at the start of the show, kudos to Vlad for calling the Moniak pickup a week ago.
Yep.
Because you got him for cheap. You got it. And I even think he said something like the fact you see him hit one homer, you throw a bid on him and see if it's for real.
And the Toglia issue is obviously the strikeout rate is massive. It's like 38%, yep. But it was it was 42% in May. It's 31% in June. So maybe he figures something out in the minors. It's always going to be high or low, but if you can just get it into a kind of a normal high rather than a crazy high, he was 25-10 last year. Like, this is someone that got some fantasy juice to him. I was very wary of it at the draft price this year because I thought the batting average floor was pretty much nothing. I mean, he could hit $150. I think Rob Silver was on his podcast talking about him getting sent to the minors. Turned out to be a really smart call. But what about Moniak? I mean, former number 1 overall pick. Seems like they're just going to play him a little bit now. He finally has carved himself in some playing time. It's kind of interesting. I mean, he had three homers. I think this week he's got 10 home runs already in 65 games. Hitting the ball hard. Barrel rate's over 10%. Walk rate's down a little bit. Moniak's looking pretty good right now. You might get a little speed power out of this, and like we mentioned, the Coors schedule really gets good.
He's Mr. Right, not Mr. I mean, he's Mr. Right now, not Mr. Right.
For sure.
I don't think he has a new skill. I think he's just on a heater, and that's fine. It still can be useful. But when the schedule changes to a negative schedule again, get ready to cut him, because I mean the approach is still terrible.
I kind of think a little bit with the hard contact though. He's 10% higher than his career high, so he's 45%. We're talking 203 plate appearances. It's not like he has 25. I mean, I know totally.
But do you really think he's fundamentally changed as a player, or is he just in this phase where he's got nice hard contact?
Probably a little bit of more of the latter for sure. But I don't know. I think he's a guy you can definitely play at home, at least for more than just this hot start. I think you can play him at home for a while here.
Yeah.
I don't want to play Mickey Moniak on the road, but like at home at Coors, he's hitting the ball that hard. I'm definitely on board. I think I like him as a pickup this week.
Yeah, I do too. He's a Moniak. He's at our door. He's dancing like he's never done before. But let's go.
I watched that movie once, and the person in my house threw it out, took the VHS tape, and threw it in the front yard so I could get this porn out of my house.
That's amazing.
True story. Flashdance for all the young people who don't know what movie Jeff was talking about there.
Yes.
But yes. It was a moment that I've never forgotten as I've grown older. Dane Myers in Miami. We talked about it a few weeks ago. I picked him up and he got hurt. Like I think the first day that he was
he got hurt on Monday. That Sunday.
Yeah, I think it was. And like there was a note and it sounded like he was maybe okay. I picked him up and he obviously was not okay. But playing well for the Marlins. He's got playing time pretty much locked in. He's a speed power combo guy. I think he's someone that is interesting to me. He had 20. He was 15, 20 in 2023 in the minors, and was injured some last year. Came up and played someone, but I like Dane Myers as kind of a sneaky under the radar speed power guy.
Yeah, I think he's been really good. And he's really good defensively too, so that helps him get playing time. It doesn't help us and unless we're playing D-WAR metrics, but it does help in playing time.
Yeah. I think that the playing time is key for me. And I think that in Miami, I think that the playing time is one of those that you're not going to get. If you have a little bit of slump, you're not going to get passed by anybody. So I think that helps a little bit too. One of the bigger pickups this week was Giants, guys. It's the Giants are facing, I think it's 6 righties this week. They face Miami. We went to the schedule earlier. They face Miami and the White Sox. They get Quantrill, Edward Cabrera, who's actually been pretty good. Jansen Junk, who's actually been pretty good as well. But still, 3 righties there. Then they go to Chicago and they get Savali, Hauser, and Shane Smith. Giants lefties look pretty good for streaming situations. They were available too. You could add Mike Yastrzemski. You could add Dominic Smith, who's been hitting the ball pretty well too. And then you mentioned before Casey Schmidt, who I think is actually right-handed, but did 2 out of 3. And then Schmidt's playing a lot. Triple eligibility. What'd you do with these 3 guys? So I found all 3 of them pretty interesting this week.
I did I picked up Schmidt for way too high of a price. I'm stuck using them now, I guess, but I'm not stuck. I wanted to get another hitter. That was a therapeutic cut of Alex Verdugo. Why he was still on my roster, I'm not quite sure. Just hell of a job managing that team, apparently. But so yeah, that was fun to get rid of Verdugo, and I can play Schmidt in a lot of different places. That appeals to me for sure.
Yeah, first, second, third's really nice. Another guy who's vastly improved his hard contact. He's 47% right now. He was 36% last year. I know it's a way smaller sample than someone like Moniak we were talking about before, but I think the triple eligibility, playing time's locked in right now, at least for a little bit until they get some injured guys back. And he homered again today, his 4th homer, and I think I like that one too. But I like Yaz too. 54% roster in the main event, so he's only available in half of them, but 6 righties this week. I think that Rafael Devers hitting right behind him, that just helps that lineup so much. I mean, if Devers hits 2nd or 3rd and Yaz is leading off against righties, suddenly this half of that lineup is a lot more interesting than it was just a week ago.
Yeah, and they get Miami, and then they get a nice road trip. And we like Giants hitters on the road. At the White Sox, at Arizona, at the Athletics. I mean, that's a beautiful, beautiful stretch. Yep. I know the White Sox might have the best pitching of those 3 teams right now, by the way.
That's really sad. And I'm looking at the Arizona scheduled to throw 4 righties in that 4-game series against the Giants. And then the A's are scheduled to throw, I guess, 2 lefties. So you got a really good stretch of it's 10 straight games against righties right now.
Yeah.
Oh, so someone, Billy Hayes in the chat mentioned they playing an NL only league and Devers went for $900. That seems about right. I mean, if you have the hammer and Devers gets traded in the NL, you just use it, right?
Yeah. It's actually kind of nice in my one NL only league. I've got 2 third basemen already, and my rival spent most of his FAAB getting Devers and had more than me anyhow. So I'm like, okay, well, I wasn't going to get him. I didn't really have a direct need. So this is good because later on I can be able to hopefully swoop in and get what I do need more of later on.
Yeah, that's a good point because now you hopefully get a spot where don't have 2 good players at. That's a good call. Yep. Someone who's been really hot on offense and was 0% rostered in the main event coming today is Isaac Collins in Milwaukee. He's fallen to a lot of playing time. This is the guy that I like this week if you needed stolen bases. He has a history of 25 to 30 stolen base seasons. He was in the Rockies organization, then in the Brewers. Just playing a lot. He's hot right now. I think he had a stolen base again today. So he's up to 8 stolen bases in only 59 games, 4 home runs. He's hitting 254 right now. He's not a hard contact guy, but I just think if you needed steals, that Collins was the guy this week that I thought fit that bill pretty well.
Had a hell of a song in Capitol Records too, Empire Records, excuse me, but that was Albert Collins.
Liv Tyler movie.
Yeah,
nice.
I never saw the movie. I just have the soundtrack. I don't know why I had the soundtrack. Don't ask me, but it's one of those record club deal things where I think I got stuck.
Yeah, I remember those. As Uncle Ted points out, Collins also a switch hitter too, so kind of avoids any platoon problems there.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the playing time's there right now, and you give me playing time with a guy who's hot and can steal some bags. I liked Collins as a kind of a mid-teens pickup this week, and that actually worked. I got him for $17, and that we mentioned the Brewers have a pretty good schedule coming up too. That added to my interest there.
Sure.
They play Pittsburgh and Colorado this week, and they get the Mets after that, and they get Miami after that. So 3 out of 4 series look really good for matchups.
And seriously, if you find a guy that plays 5-6 days a week, I mean, it's hard to do it when you're in a deep mixed league and you are an only, for God's sakes. When you're trying to find someone that plays that much, and you got to start 5 outfielders, I mean, that in and of itself is huge. The fact that he can run too, I'm on board.
Whatever they call the Brewers Park now, amazingly, really bad park factor this year. It's a 91. It's like 3rd. I think it's 3rd worst in baseball, right there with Kauffman Stadium at Texas Globe Life Field. Is that what the place is called? Really low too. It's interesting. I always kind of thought of Milwaukee as a hitter's park, and it really hasn't been.
Yep. That is weird. I actually didn't know that either. I knew about Kauffman. I knew about Globe Life, but
I read somewhere that when they close the roof, I think in Milwaukee, it becomes really a pitcher's park. Or it's one way or the other. I forget which direction it is. Maybe it's open, but it's made it so it's a really. I mean, the home run factor, there's an 81. Like it's a tough place to hit bombs now.
Yeah.
Anybody else you liked on offense? I had a few names on here. We got some, Tyler Freeman, another Rocky. If you're trying to play this stretch coming up. Christopher Morel is playing a little more in Tampa. I don't know if we're going to go back down that road. JJ Bleday, another guy that we've been burned by early this year and is playing a lot more. I don't know what he's going to do with Denzel Clark. Like the dude makes an unbelievable catch like every other game, but just can't hit. But man, some of his plays on defense are unbelievable.
Yeah. I've already been burned enough on Bleday, so I stayed away.
Yeah. By the way, your Nick Kurtz pickup, man, that dude mashes.
Yeah. Hey, I got something right.
Did you see the walk-off? Not the second one, the first one.
Oh my gosh, that was crushed.
Rarely when you're watching a game and a ball is just so far gone. He destroyed that ball. It was such a bomb.
Yep.
But I know that's fun. I'm glad you guys have Kurt, so that's at least a fun one there.
Yeah.
Did you do anything with do you have a preference on the catchers at all, real quick? Terrens, Pedro Paz, Gary Sanchez, Austin Wynns. Was anybody really jumped out of there?
Joey Bart. We got Joey Bart.
So you liked him more than all the guys? All right.
I did. He was our top choice.
Yeah, you want the power to come. The power was there last year and has not been there this year, but he's someone that last year looked like he might have figured it out.
Yeah, and I just know that he's going to play. I don't think there's really a whole lot of doubt about that. Now, maybe you don't want that. I don't know, but yeah.
Usually can never remember a week where we got so many catchers that all suddenly are into playing time too. Because the four guys we just mentioned obviously are all just like walked into playing time. I mean, Bart had it, but now Terrens, Sanchez, and Paz, walked into almost full-time jobs now.
Yeah, I guarantee you we got it wrong. That one of those other three will be the answer to that. But yeah.
I was on Terrens or Sanchez just because I was looking for. Terrens, I'm just buying it on the insane barrel rate so far. Maybe that sticks for a little bit. And Sanchez can just fall into power. And now he's going to play a bunch. He was DHing for a little bit too, and the at-bats were hard to find. But now that Rutschman's out, he's catching. So I like that as just a pure power, low batting average ad.
Yeah.
What about pitchers? I do want to talk Chase Burns really quick. Not available in NFBC leagues unless he was drafted and dropped, but he was a very low roster there. But obviously, there's a lot of people play a lot of different leagues. You're the Reds guy. How big of a stud prospect is Chase Burns? And is this one of those guys you just add right away and just don't worry about it and just spend all your FAAB on? How big of a deal are we talking here?
I am all in on Chase Burns as a prospect. If James Anderson is, I am. First of all, I appeal to that authority. But
how high is James on him?
He's our number 10 overall prospect.
Oh, so really high. Okay, nice.
Yeah, higher than Mizrachi, for instance. There,
okay.
Mizrachi has had a history of having some control issues there, but I'm super enthusiastic. We'll see, how that plays out. But I worry about what he's coming into, in particular that matchup against the Yankees as his first start. And also just generally what the Reds environment right now. They've actually developed pitchers better lately than I should be giving him credit. Hitters, on the other hand, just a quick, tiny sidebar. Christian Encarnacion Strand is sitting all the time now.
Every time I look up, he's not playing. And I know that they've had some righties, but he just doesn't play. It's
just very disappointing. I will be probably putting in a considerable bid on Burns where I have budget to burn. But
we've talked. I guess you weren't here, but I've lost 4 starters in the last 2 weeks on my good main event team. It's been brutal. I top 2 starters, then Ryan Weathers, then Tyler McGill this week. I think that, and I didn't bid high on whoever it was, Caglione, a couple weeks ago because I needed to save money for pitchers. And this feels like the guy that you at least take a shot on because who knows how it works out, but. It's if you're going to get a guy who's this big of a stud, I think you gotta try for it because the only way you're going to come back from losing those injuries is someone who turns out to be really good. So he went to Tennessee and then Wake. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. And he was drafted out of Wake. I think he was Tennessee at first. Yeah. And the weird thing is he couldn't make the weekend rotation at Tennessee and then took the next step up at Wake. And Wake has just been cranking out pitchers. So
they have an awesome program there. But you look at the minors on Burns. 1.77 ERA, 0.77 WHIP, 37% strikeout rate, 5.5% walk rate. whenever we get guys like this that have those punch outs, they always have like a 11, 12% walk rate, and he just doesn't. And that's just a great sign. Stephen Puteni in the chat mentioned what we mentioned before. The starts are really tough. He's got New York, Boston, and Philly. We mentioned the red schedule. You wonder, but if he looks good and does really well against New York, the bidding is going to be, no limit on that, because that's a high profile start against the Yankees. I know even if the Yankees aren't hitting very well, they got shut out 3 games in a row last week. Still, he pitched well against the Yankees. That's going to be crazy bidding.
Hunter Green's probably out till close to the All-Star break, but when he does come back, then we'll see what happens with Burns. Maybe Nick Martinez goes to the bullpen, because Lodolo
already kind of half did. He pitched in the bullpen on his his throw day the other day.
Yeah, but that's only because he threw 50 pitches in his last start against the Twins, and the Reds desperately needed the help because the Wade Miley injury just threw them off big time there. And they're going with a bullpen start. Suter opened that game. They were going with the total bullpen game in that one there, and so they just used him in that throw day. But Martinez is going to pitch on Wednesday. So, but Martinez is a weak link because Lodolo, Abbott, Singer, they're not going to the bullpen.
Yeah.
So Green obviously is not going to the bullpen. So then it becomes, what do you do with Burns? So point is, he's got those 3 tough starts. He doesn't have the longest, surest leash in the world. I mean, he is still out there, stud prospect, but say he gets knocked around a little bit there. He could get sent down, and then it'd be like the ultimate cruel thing, like to give him those 3 hard starts, and then when the schedule eases up, we send him down. Especially with the All-Star break. Don't forget how teams screw with young players during the All-Star break.
Yeah.
So I want to put that past the Reds to do something, like that.
Looks like Martinez is actually Friday. You said Wednesday, actually Friday. Singer's going to go Wednesday, and Lodolo's going to. But you're right. He's in the rotation. He's going to pitch on. It looks like he's going to pitch on.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. My bad.
And what about other starters? It seems like this is a week where we've got these guys. We got Sean Manaea making rehab starts. Max Scherzer's pitching for the Blue Jays this week. We got some guys coming back from injuries. Did you do anything with these guys? Frankie Montas is coming back this week, I think, too. Is he actually pitching in the majors this week?
Maybe.
Yeah, he's pitching Tuesday against Atlanta, and then he's got 2 starts this week potentially, and then at Pittsburgh at the end of the week. Got a lot of guys coming back from injury. Are there any of these 3 guys you like more than most? They all kind of scare me. I think that Scherzer would be the one I like for performance, but I just don't know how many pitches he can throw. It seems like every time he throws more than 40, 50 pitches, he's mentioned it, the thumb starts hurting again, and that's just super concerning.
I think I'm more in on the Mets than the Mets ones, just because they get that ballpark, that defense behind them, possibly some run support. I think they're the ones that I think they're the ones that are interesting to me, but we'll see.
Yeah, Montas, and obviously he pitched 150 innings last year. He was 4.84, 137. It was not great for a couple of teams there, but has a history of being pretty decent. 2021 and 2022.
He was better after he got traded from the Reds. I do remember that. But.
So there's some upside there. It's just these guys coming off injuries is always so tough to figure out. But speaking of injuries, we mentioned Chris Sale going to the IL, opens up a spot for Didier Fuentes. 20-year-old for the Braves. He's 20 years. He turned 20 last week. So really, really young guy. He's born in 2005, which is crazy to think about, by the way. So he's been 39 innings in the minors, has a really good strikeout rate, 4.81 ERA is not great, 7% walk rate, but big swing strike guy. Were you in on Didier Fuentes at all this week? He has pitched 5 innings for the majors so far this year, so he was available everywhere.
I don't know about him that much. I mean, I probably should have been a little bit more interested. I did not get him anywhere. But yeah, he was Sale. I mean, Sale's going to be out for weeks, not just like a couple of starts, I think, because they're kind of talking about just shutting him down for a little bit until that rib heals.
Have to, yeah.
I mean, Fuentes barely has any AAA though. I mean, it's such a big leap from AA to the majors.
And he was 19 last week. Like it's crazy, but
throws really freaking hard.
Yep.
Could be interesting. And the Braves have a history of advancing guys pretty quickly too. Yep. Schwellenbach was that type of guy last year. Yep. You got to remember. I probably should be interested.
Yeah, he had a 32% strikeout rate in the minors last year. It was not as high in the years before that. But I mean, he's got a lot of swing and miss. It's just a matter of is he ready? It's tough to tell, but he gets the
Mets this week, and then he potentially a 2-step the following week against the Angels and then the Orioles in Atlanta.
You like the second one, all right? I don't know. I think I'd probably sit him for if he had it against the Mets here, but You're right. LA and then Baltimore. That's a pretty good setup. I just don't know if they're going to go 6 starters. I don't know what they're actually going to do. At some point, they just take Bryce Elder out of there because Schwellenbach, Strider. It's just a matter when Sale comes back. But I think until Sale comes back, he's the 5th guy.
Yeah. I mean, Elder's gross.
Just so blah.
Yeah, very, very blah.
Did you do anything with Emmet Sheehan? We talked about him a couple weeks ago as he was really coming up through the minors. He's coming off Tommy John. It's been like 13 months. He came up, pitched pretty well. He threw 4 innings. They kind of piggybacked him and Robleski. They each threw 4 innings. But then Sheehan got sent back down. They're going to cores. The theory was Robleski's kind of his arms built up more, and we're going to need some arms and cores. I really like Sheehan as a pitcher. We've talked about him in the past, obviously, when he got called up. I think it was 2023. I'm just worried about how deep he goes into games. How precautionary they are with him when coming off the Tommy John.
Yeah, I'm not. He was on my waterfall. I think he's interesting, but I just don't trust the Dodgers in the usage a little bit there.
Yeah, me too. I really like the pitcher. I think maybe he might work in the last couple of months of the season, but I think it might be a little frustrating until he gets really going.
Yeah.
But I do like his cheap. I mean, anytime you get a Dodger pitcher, you're gonna get runs, you're gonna get offense. It's good for wins if he can get to 5, which is gonna be the tough call there. Was there any other starters you like? There's some 2-step this week. Jack Kokanowitz is pitching twice, always a little sketchy there. Steven Kolek, we've talked about in the past. I don't love that one. Padres aren't scoring as many runs. I was kind of out of the 2 steps. Did you do anything with Trevor Rogers? We talked about him a little bit before we were on the air. He's supposed to pitch twice a week for Baltimore, and last start it was only like 3 2/3 inning. Didn't pitch very well. But did you anything with the kind of sketchier 2-start guys this week?
I did add Rogers in a league.
Oh, you got him, huh? I knew you were bidding on him. I didn't know.
I told you I'd feel gross about it. I didn't get him in the main.
It means you're starting him too, right? Because you're not picking him up for this week and not starting him, right?
Right. Scarf is where I have him. Dropped Justin Martinez. So yeah. I'm not proud, but I will use them.
Someone in the chat asked about Adley Rutschman. We did talk about that earlier. Said, should I drop him in a 12-teamer? I think Jeff was a no, and I was a yes. Although it depends how many catchers if you have 1 catcher, definitely a drop. If you have 2 catchers, kind of right on the edge. But I think I am a drop.
Yeah.
What about relievers? My biggest expenditure this week turned out to be a reliever. I'm kind of right on the edge in saves here, Jeff. I've got kind of both my leagues. I have one closer I kind of like, and then one I've got Kenley Jansen, and one I've got Calvin Fauché in the other because I lost Ryan Walker. I need saves. It's been really hard to find them unless you kind of snag the Emilio Pagan or a couple of the guys earlier on. But Orion Orion Kerkering is half closing games for Philly. I know we don't trust Rob Thompson at all. 33% rostered in the main event, but he had 2 saves this week. He's not giving up. He's given up 1 run since May 1st. He was really bad in April, and I think the overall numbers don't look very good just because of how bad April was. But he's given up 1 run in since May 1st. Been really good lately. He had 2 saves this week. I know he walks too many guys. The strikeouts aren't as high as they were last year, but I was in here just because I'm trying to get a piece of this save situation. I don't love it. I don't trust the situation. They still got Romano there. Still got Strom there. But I was on Kerkering kind of in the 30 to 40 range. I ended up getting him in 1 league.
Yeah, I had waterfall bids on him. I think if I was bidding on a reliever, he was my top one. I was looking. I think I had Halvorsen. God, I actually bid on a Rockies closer, believe it or not there.
Wow, you broke your rule.
I know. That's sick. But I don't think I got him, so it's okay. It's fine. But
the bidding was aggressive though. It was like most bids were in like the 60 to 80 range. It was, I think people have lost clothes. People are desperate for saves, and there have not been many options to try and grab with your FAAB.
No, I agree. I don't know what to expect out of Kerkering or Rob Thompson. I mean, that is always a tough racket to be living in there. But yeah, Kerkering was amazing last year. Not so amazing this year. He's walked. I think he's walked as many guys in 30 innings as he did all of last year with someone we were talking about again on the XM show with Todd this morning. Yeah. But as you alluded to, a lot of the damage was done early in the season. Yeah. So
but the walks have kind of stayed throughout though, which is the concerning part. The strikeouts have gone up in June, and the ERA has been really good. But I was a little worried as I looked closer that the walks are still there. I was hoping maybe he had walked 7 guys in April and then none after, but only 1 earned run in the last 19 innings though is really good. But I am worried that the walks have not gone away either.
Yeah. It's interesting. I saw a decent sized bid on Randy Rodriguez this week in one league. It's still available in a couple places there.
Coming off a little bit of a Doval hiccup this week.
Yeah. So that was something. Boston, I was paying attention to a little bit there. I think it was just ace reliever usage with the Aroldis Chapman, but Greg Weissert, someone that I actually saw available in some leagues. He's picked up a couple. I think he's got 3 saves, and 2 of them have been in his last 4 outings. So, yeah, okay.
You know what the crazy thing is that I saw those 2, and they've kind of mixed and matched. They're kind of trying to overload Chapman. Chapman has been friggin' awesome.
He has.
Chapman's been like elite, like level Chapman. 37% strikeout rate. The key is the walks. 7.5% walk rate, cut in half from last year. His K-minus walks 30%. His swinging strike rate is 20.2%, which is tied for his highest in his career, which is wild considering he used to throw 107. He's been awesome. His 1.41 ERA, 0.78 WHIP. They have not fully ridden him as the full-time closer. They've been really kind of babied him a little bit, but I think it's working and it's really smart. He's got 14 saves still, so you're not going to get to 35, 40 saves, but you might get 30, and the ratios are nasty right now.
Yeah, and it's like Weissert's emerged as an alternative, and I think it's just more whenever we have to use Chapman in the ace sort of type of guy. Slayton's hurt. Obviously Liam Hendricks didn't work out. That was a bummer.
It is.
But I hate Chapman. I just think he's a bad human.
I am not disagreeing there. I'm strictly sticking from a Fangraphs Fangraphs stat page.
Begrudgingly admit he has been awesome. He's
been awesome, and he's throwing hard. He looks really good. Some of the chat mentioned Chris Martin got a save on Saturday. That situation seems to be very fluid too. I think Luke Jackson had one earlier this week, but we talk about awesome pitchers, and we won't talk about Chapman again. But Chris Martin is just awesome. He's just a great pitcher. 29.8 strikeout rate. 3.2% walk rate gives him a 26% K-minus walk. ERA is 1.48, whips 0.86. Like, even when Chris Martin, like early in the year, he had a couple runs, we're like, oh, is he still the same guy? Chris Martin's 39 and still freaking amazing.
Yeah, and he which still makes him younger than the Coldplay singer of the same name, but
he's just good every single year.
Believe it or not, Scott, I have a league where I had Martin active this week for that.
Oh, nice save. I like that.
AL only league, so it's kind of like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. I'll take the ratios, and I think it's just
weird. He's never fallen into a full-time closer job. How good he is.
Yeah, well, and some of that's durability.
Yeah,
I think some of it's just happenstance. Well, he's always been a setup guy, so we'll keep using him as a setup guy. I think he's their best reliever. Garcia's not bad though. So
I like Garcia too.
Yeah. I think that's his problem. It's just that Garcia had pitched 2 days in a row, so they let Martin go on Saturday for that. I think Garcia probably gets the next chance, but maybe there's a situation where they want to use Garcia like Chapman in the 8th inning when there's a bunch of lefties coming up. So I'd hang on to Martin if you have him, and at least if you're stuck in a week of bad starts, maybe you just play Martin anyhow, like I had to. That one week.
With my injuries, I'm kind of doing that. I'm kind of just figuring out some stud relievers that maybe fall in some saves. But Paul Spohr in the chat mentioned 18 career saves from Martin, so making my point for me. But it's crazy. He didn't fall into like a 25 save year at some point.
Yeah.
Last guy I want to ask.
10. Not even 10.
You're right. Yeah. Last guy I want to ask you before we jump out of here. Grant Taylor got his first save of the year for the White Sox today. He's a 23-year-old who has pitched really well so far. He was in Double-A to start the year. 37% strikeout rate in Double-A, 17% swing strike rate was really good there. 1.01 ERA, 0.86 WHIP. They called him up. He's pitched 5 innings for them. Today was the 6th inning he's pitched. Today he got the save off too. Scoreless inning for them. I realize the White Sox aren't going to get many wins, but it seems like they're trying to figure out if Grant Taylor's the guy, and they're trying to do it now.
Yeah, why not? Cost them nothing to do it.
Yeah.
He throws hard.
Yes, he does. 99 average fastball is nice.
Yeah. I like at A-ball last year, he had a 25-1 K to walk in 16 innings. Is that good? I think that's pretty good. So why not?
That's crazy. Look at that. That is a 42% K-minus walk. That's insane.
Yeah. So I don't know. It is the White Sox though. How many save chances are they truly going to get? I know they're not special bad like the like they were last year or the Rockies, but still, I mean, before today they had a 320 winning percentage.
Yeah.
They think they were the last team to have a traditional save opportunity this year. They're not going to get a bunch of those even still.
It's wild that you look at saves. Like Kansas City's 2 games under 500. Carlos Estevez has the most saves in baseball. It's a weird. It's always a weird. There's always a couple of guys in there who are on 500 teams, but there's 500. There's White Sox who are 25 and 53.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You just have to be a meh team, and that means all your wins are close. You know, and that could be just the formula. They only win 70 games, but if 40 of them are one run games, then hey, there you go.
If you're a locked in guy, I mean, it's just huge. And Estevez has been so far.
Yeah.
There's a final question in the chat for you, Jeff. Noelvi Marte, he's on his rehab assignment. Should be back up pretty soon. Do you think he falls back into regular playing time right away in Cincinnati? What's the outlook look like for Marte as when he gets back up from the rehab assignment?
I think he's going to be in a timeshare of some sort. I think it's a little tighter now. I think there's this irrational love of Santiago Espinal. That even though the thing is, the Reds, take a look. Their number 2 hitters all season have been awful. And Espinal's been one of them there. McLean's finally heated up a little bit, but he's batting at the bottom of the lineup.
He hit second today, right?
He did. He's starting to get boosted up a little bit more often here and there. And McLean had a really nice weekend in St. Louis, so that helped. Marte's probably back in a week or so. He kicked off rehab assignment this weekend, but it's down in the complex league, so it might be a little even longer than that. Yeah, but he's going to go to Louisville. We'll see how long he's there. But I mean, at one point in time, he was a middle of the lineup hitter for the Reds this year. It could happen again. It might be frustrating. I think it's going to be a little frustrating, and there's leagues where I've held on to him, so I'm hoping.
And I think he's an ad for sure, and you hope he falls into that regular playing time. I do think you're right. It probably was a little bit of mix and match to begin with. They seem pretty stuck on wanting to play like Espinal and Gavin Lux, and Lux has been okay, but just no power and no speed. It's just kind of blah. He did have a homer, I think, earlier this week, but it's been kind of blah. He was hitting 265, but just kind of boring. But he is walking a bunch, so maybe real baseball is a little bit better than fantasy. But I think that I gotta think they're going to give him Noelvi a shot. I mean, he looked so good earlier this year. I mean, obviously, I looked bad before, but he looked really good when he's healthy. I think I certainly would add him if he was available in the league at this point. I think it's the time to add is now.
Yeah. By the way, it's been a really long time since we've heard from Jamer Candelario.
Where is he still around? What is he up to?
Conveniently on that IL for a very long time. But we had to know at the beginning of June that he had begun his rehab assignment. That was June 3rd.
How big is the leash on Spencer Steer? I know last year was really, really good with the 20 and 25. He's 6 home runs, 4 stolen bases with a 288 OBP right now. Is he locked in? Is his playing time at risk when Marte comes back at all?
I mean, you've got a number of different candidates that are scapegoats here. That's the problem. And they still got to get Austin Hayes back too. Keep in mind.
That's right.
A lot of people coming back. This is going to be chaotic for a while.
Kind of impressive. They got a plus 34 run differential and over 500 with everything that's gone on in that team. They've actually played pretty decently.
Kind of speaks to their pitching.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, the pitching quietly has been very good this year.
Yeah, I'm looking at them. The top. It seemed like it's weird. All 5 teams in Central pitch pretty well.
Yeah, they have indeed.
Just the Cubs really can hit, and the Pirates really can't. And the other ones are kind of in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Cool. Well, I think that's kind of all we got. We hit a lot of players, a lot of FAAB, a lot of baseball stuff. So, Jeff, good to have you back. It's always fun. Makes Sunday nights a lot of fun. If you could please rate and review the podcast, we'd appreciate that. Also, if you have any questions for us, hit us up on Twitter, X. Jeff is at Jeff_Erickson. I am at Scott Jenstad. Other than that, hope everybody's a really good week, a really good fantasy week. Back at you next Sunday night, talking a lot more baseball. Hope everybody's a good one. Take care.